Dialectical Journal, Unit 2, by Taylor Madison. I will be covering 11 by Sandra Cisneros, Araby by James Joyce, The Awakening by Kate Chopin, The Southern Woman in Fiction by Marie Fletcher, and Feminist or Naturalist by Nancy Walker. 11. Quote of interest. And when you wake up on your 11th birthday, you expect to feel 11, but you don't. You open your eyes and everything's just like yesterday, only it's today. And you don't feel 11 at all. You feel like you're 10, and you are, underneath the year that makes you 11. Page 233. This quote reminded me of a question that people ask every year on your birthday. Do you feel older, they question? The answer is no, because like the little girl said, you feel the same as you did the day before. This can be expanded into a universal truth that age, knowledge, and wisdom is acquired over time. People do not wake up at 75 years old and realize that they are wise. They gradually gain insight as the days go by, and by the time they are 75, they have seen most situations because they have lived that much longer. Only today I wish I didn't have only 11 years rattling inside me like pennies in a tin Band-Aid box. Today I wish I was 102 instead of 11, because if I was 102, I'd have known what to say when Mrs. Price put the red sweater on my desk. I would have known how to tell her it wasn't mine instead of just sitting there with that look on my face and nothing coming out of my mouth. Page 233. I did not understand why the student did not speak up and tell the teacher right away that it was not her sweater. If this had been a longer story and the reader had known her personality better, they may have understood, but since this was not the case, I was left to conclude that she was shy and soft-spoken. Also, the story was aiming to show that at 11 she was unsure of herself and lacked confidence in her position. Had she been older and had more experience, she would not have taken the passive role. By staying quiet, an issue was created that did not have to exist. If she had said it was not hers, the teacher would have moved on to someone else. Araby, quote of interest. She was waiting for us, her figure defined by the light from the half-opened door. Her brother always teased her before he obeyed, and I stood by the railings looking at her. Her dress swung as she moved her body, and the soft rope of her hair tossed from side to side. Page 82. The author never mentions the boy's name because the boy did not represent one person's point of view. He represents a phase that teenagers go through. They do not take into account that the opposite gender has the same amount of flaws as they do. Instead, they idolize them, making it impossible for anyone to live up to the standard. The way Joyce describes the boy intently watching the girl shows that he is enamored with the idea of her, yet he does not know her in any way. He completely discounts that she may have a mean personality or that she may not have the same values. When she came out on the doorstep, my heart leaped. I ran to the hall, seized my books, and followed her. I kept her brown figure always in my eye, and when we came near the point at which our ways diverged, I quickened my pace and passed her. This happened morning after morning. I had never spoken to her, except for a few casual words, and yet her name was like a summoning to all my foolish blood. Page 82. I found the author's choice of words quite interesting because he says that the boy's heart leaped. This phrase is usually used for extreme excitement or when a character sees the one they love. He is not in love with her because they are not even acquaintances, and he probably is not ecstatic because he walks by her every morning. His heart leaps because she is a woman, therefore she is unknown, a mystery. The Awakening, quote of interest. A certain light was beginning to dawn dimly within her, the light which showing the way forbids it. At the early period it served but bewildered her. It moved her to dreams, to thoughtfulness, to the shadowy anguish which had overcome her the midnight when she had abandoned herself to tears. Page 14. The certain light that was beginning to dawn dimly within her represented the start of her awakening. It was not uncommon for Creole men to express interest in married women, but as a Kentucky Presbyterian, she was uncomfortable with this until she realized that it was acceptable to return his affection. She felt as if she was taking a chance every time she was with him, but in fact no one else thought it was strange or daring. The difference between her and the other women was that she took the attention seriously. At one point, later in the novel, Mrs. Racheneau warns Robert of this matter, but she is too late. Miss Pontellier was not a woman given to confidences, a characteristic hitherto contrary to her nature. Even as a child, she had lived her own small life all within herself. At a very early period, she had apprehended instinctively the dual life, the outward existence which conforms, the inward life which it questions. Page 14. I decided to comment on this quote because I found Miss Pontellier to be less accepting of the traditional roles than the women around her. It seems that she did not realize how suppressed she felt until that time, and that she was the only woman to experience this awakening of independence and control over her life. Maybe this was because she was eager for a change, whereas the others did not question their roles as wives or mothers. Edna began to feel like one who awakens gradually out of a dream, a delicious, grotesque, impossible dream, to feel again the realities pressing into her soul. The physical need for sleep began to overtake her. The exuberance which had sustained and exalted her spirit left her helpless and yielding to the conditions which crowded her in. Page 33. The impossible dream she refers to is the life she imagines with Robert. She longs to live that life, free of her husband and her lack of power. When she awakens, she is coming back to reality, and the weight of the fact that she is stuck being unhappy and out of love falls back onto her soul. Robert has shown her what she longs for but cannot have. The stillest hour of the night had come, the hour before dawn, when the world seems to hold its breath. The moon hung low and had turned from silver to copper in the sleeping sky. The old owl no longer hooted, and the water oaks had ceased to moan as they bent their heads. Page 31. Chopin repeatedly talks about the stillest hour of the night when the world seems to hold its breath. I found this repetition curious because I had never thought about whether or not the world decides to continue on the next day or to remain dark forever after. The author did not mean this phrase literally, but the imagery was thought-provoking and vivid. On a more symbolic level, she is talking about Edna's struggle between continuing on the path or deviating to Robert. She has the most time to think at night when she is alone and unable to sleep. These are the times when she is the most upset by the situation because she has no other distractions and she does not have to appear jovial. Once she stopped and, taking off her wedding ring, flung it upon the carpet. When she saw it lying there, she stamped her heel upon it, striving to crush it. But her small boot heel did not make an indenture, not a mark upon the little glittering circlet. Page 51. During this section, Edna throws a crystal vase on the ground because she wants to hear it shatter. I imagine that she was trying to shatter her marriage so that she could be with Robert. She also throws her wedding ring on the ground and stomps on it. She is unable to make the slightest ding in the band, which irritates her further. This represents her lack of control and power, which she has yielded to for all these years but is recently unwilling to settle for.